All right, we're live. We're here.
Heck yeah, we are.
All three of us, after what seems like quite a while.
I think it has been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. John, but more that's exciting. John's back. Tell us about the convention.
The convention was pretty good. So, for those who didn't know, I was over in Orlando, Florida. I was guesting there for Holiday Matsuri. That was my first time guesting at the convention. It was pretty fun. It's very anime themed. I mean, I was in the game room. I was a gaming guest, but they had everyone was running around in like Christmas versions of like their anime cosplay
Oh
characters.
yeah.
Actually, super cool. Like it was just
Okay.
neat seeing everyone run around in all these Christmas themed outfits.
Nice.
I had to host a bunch of segments while I was there. I had to do like trivia show. I did throw in controllers. I did this mystery game hot seat game where people I gave out envelopes and then it had money inside, but people had to like gamble and beat other people to steal their envelopes and get the money inside. It was actually
Hmm.
really super cool.
Were these all things that you had put together?
No, I only planned throwing controllers, and
Okay.
they asked me to
So,
make a panel too, which was like I did Mario Party versus the audience, and then everything else they were just like, "Hey, we need a host for this. You want to do it?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's go."
so did they have
Okay.
to like prep you and teach you how like the game that you're about to host works?
I mean, like they gave me a cheat sheet for at least the hot seat, and I had Justin Wong doing commentary with me, so like I'm just like, all right, Jay Wong knows what he's doing. I can just relax. So
Nice.
I'll just like
Tell
auto
some
host and
jokes.
like what?
Just tell some jokes. You're just there to be the comedic part.
Well, I was the other way around. Actually, I was like the main host and he was the comedic part. So
Oh, okay. All right.
like it balanced out. Like we bounced off of each other really cool, like really well. It was fun. And then I got to
Nice.
teach him how to play Jackbox because he had never played that before.
Oh,
So
Like
weird.
any Jackbox?
he had never played any Jackbox ever. So we
Huh.
played Trivia Murder Party and
Wow.
Quiplash 2,
Hmm.
which I
Okay.
think is on 3 or 4. It's one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. That's almost seems like difficult to avoid a Jackbox for this
I
long.
mean, he's a fighting game player and he's a tournament level fighting game player.
That's
The dude
true.
plays fighting games.
Yeah.
Okay,
True.
that's cool. Had you heard of this convention before?
I'd heard of it, but that's because one of my friends was staff at it. So, and
Okay,
the gaming department on their recommendation was like, "Hey, do you want to be a guest?" I was like, "Heck yeah, let's do it." They
nice.
covered my
Because I know
flight, they covered my hotel, and they gave me like a an appearance fee. It was cool.
I had never heard about it. Paul, I don't think you had heard about it before, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
It's decent size. I think the attendance last year was like 22,000 people. I think they said this year's was a little smaller, but I forget exactly because it seemed pretty crowded when I was walking through it.
Okay. Okay. And what's Florida like in December?
Orlando was very cold. In the
Hmm.
daytime, it was nice and warm. It was like, 70s, 80s. And then at nighttime, it was like 50s, 40s in Fahrenheit. Like I was wearing a hoodie and I was freezing. Like it was wild.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Did you go to Disney World?
No, I was literally 2 miles away from it, but I couldn't go because I was so
Yeah.
busy with the convention.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool. Well, you had a good time then? Did you buy anything?
I bought some little knickknacks here and there. I don't know if I have much on the desk I can show, but I got this cute little question mark block
Oh,
to,
nice.
in hot pink. And it's a little bank too, so you can use it as a little bank.
Okay.
Just opens right up. Boop.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
No games. You didn't like buy any retro games as per
No,
usual?
shockingly, they had some retro game booths and they had an import booth there too, but like nothing caught my eye. One booth had a ton of rare retro games, and I had them all, so I was like, "Good, my wallet will be safe."
I guess eventually they're gonna run out of games you don't have. So
You know what? That's the day I'm hoping for, because then finally I can be like, "Okay, I'm free now."
yeah, you can rest.
Free.
You can finally pass on into the afterlife.
Exactly. That's
No
when
longer.
I was gonna say that's when my ghost like sends up to
Yeah,
heaven.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the ball and chain around your ankle finally just like pops open. Okay. Well, cool. Well, yes. Welcome back. And Paul, what have you been up to in the last week?
Just chilling, man. Just living life. You know how it'd be.
Sure. Yeah. John and I played some mini golf yesterday. I
Yep,
won.
that
It
was
was a
fun.
close
You
game
did.
for all parties, but I did win, just for the record.
There was only
Okay.
one
Uh,
entire hole in one the entire time,
which neither
Okay.
of us got.
which neither of us got.
Yeah, that was impressive because that was they had to do a loop to loop and they got a hole in one off that, so that was very impressive. Um, I don't know, John. Both you and Nathan said that place was sucked. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
I think it was fine because like we just kind of played together and just kind of goofed. Like that was I think that was it.
I liked all the decorations. I loved all the the murals and the statues and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool.
I remember it feeling a little more worn down when I was there, but I guess maybe it was just a trick of the light.
Yeah, maybe they did like a touch up with some paint or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, I would recommend it for you, Paul, if you're ever looking for some indoor mini golf.
Okay. All right. It's close by, kind of.
Kinda.
There you go. Other than that, I saw Aquaman 2, and that movie's bad, but I want to specifically complain about the 3 preteen boys that were sitting behind me
Okay.
who would not stop making noise.
Sure.
They would not silence their phones. Every
Okay.
time the movie got quiet, they would make either a fart noise or just start moaning.
What?
About an hour into the movie, I started noticing, like, oh, wait, they're quiet. I guess they ran out of hilarious jokes.
Uh-huh.
And then a few minutes later, all 3 of them were walking back up the stairs to their seat. So I guess they just all went to the bathroom for 30 minutes together.
Oh,
They were
alright.
clearly enjoying the movie to like to that level.
Yeah, that. Oh my god. Yeah, that was annoying. We did D-Box though, just for the hell of
Ooh,
it.
Sure. Why not?
Which I've done D-Box once before. What was it? It was for Man of Steel. I did it for this one as well. I think it's more just kind of distracting.
Sure.
But there was one part that made me kind of laugh. So, like, quick little premise to make have this make sense. It's about like an evil trident that's like possessed by like a evil ancient spirit or something, and whenever someone touches it for the first time, they get like visions and memories of the ghost pirate guy yelling at them or something.
Uh-huh.
And so there's one extended sequence like that where there's a lot of lore kind of getting dumped at you, and the ghost guy is like spinning around the main character. And so the seat is rotating for like a minute straight, which I thought was just very goofy.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So that one actually that made me laugh because of just how silly this whole setup was. But Aquaman 2 is really bad. Don't go see that movie.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
sure
worry, I
it
didn't
is.
watch the first one.
I didn't either,
you don't
actually.
need to. Yeah, well, hey, now that means officially the DCEU is done. Hopefully we'll get some good DC movies going forward.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. And James Gunn's there. Who? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. He does some good stuff.
He does some good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do the podcast. It's Top Down Perspective for December 28th. Last one of the year.
Yep.
So, speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
John Wheeler.
Next, some quick housekeeping. Our Game of the Year show is officially going to be on January 11th. Nathan will be there, so get excited. Thank you to Nathan for joining us again.
Mm-hmm.
And you had another thing listed that I forgot. The Community Game of the Year survey is still up. You should still respond to that. It's in pinned posts on the Discord. It's on our Twitter, so look at that. That is going to be closing on January 8th, so get your submissions in by January 8th if you want your vote to be tallied up for the show on the 11th.
That it so far has one of the highest amount of participants we've ever had. It's been quite a bit.
Wow.
Nice.
Holy smokes.
Which makes
Because we've
sense.
been on like the downcline.
It makes sense though.
Decline.
2023 was insane for games. So
So everyone just like needed their voice heard.
I
gotta
guess
tell you,
so.
yeah.
It's been
Maybe.
close for
All
some
right.
things too. So like the votes, yeah, I kind of don't know where some of them are going anymore, which is insane at this point.
Okay.
Wow, that's super rare.
That's good to know.
There's a
Cool.
few that, well, there's a few. I'm not gonna like completely lie. There's a few that's like, oh yeah, that's obviously gonna be really high. But there's a few that are like, I don't know which is gonna win out of these like 5 games. They're all neck and neck.
Okay. Yeah. It's been a good year for games. Bad year for game developers.
True.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about what we've been playing, starting with John. He's been playing so much.
Oh yeah, I played everything under the sun, such as nada.
Yeah.
I thought you were planning to like hit some backlog.
Yeah, but I told you that yesterday.
Yeah, so I thought maybe like
I streamed.
I thought maybe you played some after
No,
we
dude,
hung
I
out or
streamed
today?
yesterday.
No?
I was
Okay.
busy. I mean, I played through Startropics. I can talk about Startropics, but it's an NES game that is
Sure.
bullshit, and
Okay.
Nintendo made it. So I don't know why it's so bullshit.
Mm.
Nintendo makes bad games. There's plenty of them. Mario Party, Mario Party 2.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
Yep, there it is.
No,
That most
this is
recent
like
Pokemon
this is like
game.
a Zelda 2 and Zelda 1 like game. It's kind of neat. I like a lot about it, but then there's like a lot of weird bullshit. Like it's like weirdly unfair and against the player for no reason. Like it's a maze game where like you go up, down, left, right. You pick which room you go into next. But some of the rooms can just lead to insta death traps or traps that you need to have like instantaneous like reaction time to, otherwise you just die, and that can just happen, and you just have to accept that you died. Like it's just there's like a bunch of like you trial and error bullshit in it, which is weird. And the final stage has like the worst checkpoint, as in that it does not have any.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was pretty rough ending it, but like the game itself, like the first half of the game's fine, and then the second half it's just like, oh, this is So I beat it. This is a game, ironically, Reese told me never to bother trying to beat because it just kind of gets bullshit by the end. She was very right.
Mm.
So what's the like? If you're gonna recommend it, where do people stop playing the game? If they want to have a good time with Startropics, where do they stop?
Maybe up to the halfway point, which I think is chapter 4.
Okay.
Yeah, up to chapter 3 was fine, and chapter 4 was when it starts doing dumb shit. But like, you can find dumb shit all along the way if you try hard enough.
So if you really want a bad time, you can find
Yeah, if
it
you really
anywhere.
have a bad time, finish the game and then play the sequel, which most people say is worse.
Oh god. Okay.
I am curious if you're gonna do some homework or whatever, I guess, before Game of the Year. At least probably try to get a couple games in there. Do you have an idea of what you're going to jump to? I'm just kind of curious where your head's at for like stuff you want to check out.
I don't know, man. I got to go through and like write down every game that came out this year and be like, okay, did I play enough of this to even be able to rank it? Because like I can think of like half a dozen games where I'm like, if I play more of this will crack my top 10.
Sure.
Well, unless it sucks. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be at like, okay, I have what? Let's say 12 days before the end of the game of the year
11.
podcast.
You have like
Let's say 2 weeks.
15.
Let's assume I can't get anything done tonight. Let's just assume that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I'm assuming you're playing one of the games right now because that's what you do when we podcast.
No, I actually haven't done that for the past few podcasts.
I'm just joking.
I know. No, like yeah, I don't know.
Can
like,
I make a
wanna play more RoboCop.
recommendation? Yeah, RoboCop
Yeah.
was the one. I was like thinking you should play
Yeah,
that
I
one.
actually asked him this question yesterday.
Yeah.
He did say RoboCop.
You should
Right here.
You should play a bunch of that, I think. Not because I think that game's like amazing or anything, but I know that you like RoboCop and it is so perfectly that like that style.
It is exactly what it is on the tin. It is
Totally.
RoboCop Fallout New Vegas. So
It's one of those games that like if somebody plays it and they're like, "Oh, I fucking hate this game." I know, "Oh, you've never watched or you don't like RoboCop then." Like just straight up.
it is blatantly this is RoboCop.
Yes.
So yeah, that was one of the ones. Hi-Fi Rush was one. I want to play more Armored Core 6.
Yeah.
I want to actually play
Spider-Man
Final
2.
Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2. I at least started that one.
I would be
You
interested to
mentioned
know
Sea of Stars.
Yeah, Sea Stars.
I would be interested to know your thoughts on Final Fantasy 16 for Game of the Year stuff because you like the Devil May Cry gameplay style more than a lot of stuff. So you
More
might
than
get
most
super
people
into
do,
it.
so.
Maybe.
That's what I'm wondering, but I don't know if I have the time to dig into a game that meaty. But also, like,
I also
guess
think like the really interesting combat takes a while to get to.
There is
That's the other
that.
So
thing
the
I'm worried
amount
about.
you're going to play is probably like the demo's length, and you're going to see like a cool cutscene and some like QuickTime events, but you're not going to get like combos when you're doing the attacks or anything like that. It's going to be like, hey, hit square a bunch because it's the first level. That's all you have unlocked. Is hitting square.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll start whipping up the list tonight probably and be like, oh, I have a lot I need to check out.
Hi-Fi Rush, it's probably the shortest one you've mentioned. I don't know exactly how long RoboCop is. That's probably a good one. You could get like
RoboCop's I think 20 hours.
You can get a significant amount of Hi-Fi Rush done without playing as much because of the shortened length.
I like
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush is ironically a little lower on the list though, because I wasn't vibing with it when I played it during the
Oh.
charity event we did this year.
Oh, fair.
But that also could have been literally because I was playing it for a charity event where I couldn't sit down and just focus. I had to actually like talk and entertain during it.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, if you want to lose the rest of your time, you could just dive really hard into Void Stranger and get all of those secrets.
That's another one I need to dig more into because I've barely touched it for months. I was so into it at launch, and then I was just like, I can't.
I feel you should dig more into that game. That game is insane.
I think I literally stopped at a point where as soon as I boot that game up, I'm getting a cutscene.
You stopped it at a point where some secrets really start opening. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have shite timing for that one, so we'll see how
You
that
could
goes.
also, and this is just kind of just spitting, thinking. You could just not play any of them and play Assassin's Creed Mirage, a game I haven't even played.
Yeah, you could take over
Is
the
that
Assassin's
anything?
Creed mantle from
This
Sean.
this could be the time. This could be my time to actually play through an entire Assassin's Creed game and
Yeah,
maybe finish
if
one.
you want to take the mantle of having to play each Assassin's Creed each year, I'll hand that over to you.
You can
That's fine.
release him from his
That's
curse.
so generous of you, Sean. That's so generous.
No, I do want to play that, but I just every time I'm like, I'd rather play something else. But I
Yeah.
do want to play it. I'll play it
There's too many-
eventually.
There's
It'll
too many
happen.
long video games. Give me something short. Give me like a 10-minute video game, and then I can put that on the game of the year list.
Okay,
Sure.
10-minute video game. I don't know if
That's a hard one, but I'm
Maybe-
sure it's out there.
how long
I think,
is
I think that's Suika game.
Mm.
Suika game? Paul, how long is? Oh, you want those games?
Oh, way longer than 10 minutes.
Way longer than 10 minutes. Okay.
That takes a couple hours if you want to complete that.
Yeah, I spent a few hours playing that. That's really fun.
Did McPixel 3 come out this year?
Yes, I think
The
so.
last year.
Was that last year?
I was
No
playing it
way.
at Indie Land.
That was last year. That was November of last year. But
Wow.
they announced DLC for that somewhat recently, right? Like that's getting.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know
Oh.
anything about that. Though.
Okay, gotcha.
I think the DLC is the DLC McPixel 2. I forget how they're doing this.
I don't think so.
Damn, that would have been actually kind of funny.
Let me see.
I'm trying to find my game of the year list from last year because I think
I don't know if it
McPixel
has
3
a
was on
name.
it.
I think the DLC came out. Pixel 3 free DLC update. I don't know if it has like a name. It's just a free update. When? I think it's already out. So, man, I have so much McPixel to play. This was also posted back in March? What?
Oh wow.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
if this is the actual update.
I did not even have McPixel on my game of the year list from last year, so I have no clue.
All right, well.
I have no idea when I played it. Maybe I played it this year, and that's.
Did you
I
play it? I
don't
don't
know.
remember if you played it or not. I know I played it.
I know I played it because I'm pretty sure I played it at Indie Land, so I know I did that.
Okay.
But like I thought I played it on stream, so. And that might be why I forgot and didn't actually write it down.
Looking at my list here, there's a lot of games actually that I think you've played that maybe you just forgot came out this year. So I think you won't
Dude,
have that.
I forgot Pizza Tower came out this year. That was like
Oh.
February. Something
Yeah. Okay.
something came out in January, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't remember what the heck it was. I just know there's some game in January that was like, heck yeah. And like this upcoming January has Momodora 5 and like some other
Oh,
big
I'm so
Metroidvania that I
excited.
keep forgetting about.
Momodora 5 is the one that the first one of 2024 that I'm looking forward to. January 11th, I think, something like that.
It's something like that. And then there's like another
That's the game of the year podcast.
Well, I got a new entry that's gonna try to slide in there.
Well, I guess I'm not going to be part of the Game of the Year podcast then.
Gotta play some
I have
Momodora.
priorities. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
All
yeah, I
right.
did play McPixel 3. I played it in November of last year. So yeah. All right.
Okay, so when it came out, cool.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
All
pretty much all I
right.
played on stream. Or-
Paul, you played some cool games, and I want to hear about them.
Yeah, I'm in catch-up mode, so I did some shorter games this week and weekend. So I started with Cocoon, decided to knock that out. That took about 2 sessions, I think. No, maybe it was one long one. I think it was one long one. I was going to call it at some point, but then I realized I was at the end-ish area. Cocoon is very good. So, like, the stuff that they've shown of it, where you're kind of going in between the different orbs and moving them around, like, the puzzle stuff is very, very good. The thing I really fell in love with, though, is I thought the boss fights were awesome. I really enjoyed those.
They're pretty inventive.
Yeah.
Considering it's a one-button game.
Yeah.
And like they're super unique, and they do some very cool stuff. Yeah.
And it's one of those puzzle games that, like, there were more than a few times where I was saying, wait, will this work? Oh, yeah, now I'm in this weird, like, paradox where I'm in the thing while holding the thing also. Like, it gets weird.
My favorite part of Cocoon is how tightly designed that game is.
Yeah.
And just kind of tangentially, they will block off if you do not need to go back, because that could get pretty dicey pretty fast. But they'll be like, no, everything you need is in the room you're in. You just need to keep thinking. It's like, thank you so much, because you didn't have to do that, but I really appreciate that.
Yeah. It also does the, like, music swell when, like, you start getting on the right path. Like, there have been a few times where I was kind of messing around with stuff and nothing was happening. And then I was like, wait, well, does this happen? I do the thing, and then it's like, doo-doo-doo. It's like, okay, I'm on the right path. Like, it's telling me that I've, like, figured out the way to keep on doing something or whatever, which is, that and Chants of Sennaar, which I'll talk about in a second, both do that, which I really appreciate when puzzle games kind of, like, give you an indicator that, yes, you're on the right path or you've done the thing.
Yep. It's been a good year for puzzle games.
Yes, it definitely has. I definitely would recommend Cocoon for like people to just try out. I think I took about 5 hours in it. If you are pretty on the money with stuff, you could probably do it in maybe a little over 4. If you wanted to just like look up a guide or something, you could get through that game in like 2 hours, honestly. But then why play a puzzle game at that point?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, why exactly? That seems like the worst for a puzzle game. Like, I understand if you're stuck and you want to keep going, but if you're just like, I guess, to see the environments, it has like some cool imagery with its like robot bug. It's gross.
The like biomechanical stuff going on is very, very weird. I still think the boss fights are like a high point for me though. So like if somebody was like, yeah, I didn't want to do puzzles, I would still maybe be like, well then like play it and get to the boss fights and just experience those. There's only like 4 of them, but I think they're very good.
If someone told me I don't want to do puzzles, I would not recommend them a puzzle game. Like, I would not be trying to push Cocoon on them. Like, but it is also very interesting that this puzzle game has boss fights.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good game.
They're very, very cool. And then this led into Chants of Sennaar. Actually, our conversation where you were talking about Chants of Sennaar led into it, because the reason I had been putting it off so long is I never felt like I was mentally.
You were like, I don't know what Sean thinks. I have to wait for him.
Yeah, exactly. Since it came out and I kind of heard what it was about, I never thought I was mentally prepared for, like, I don't want to sit down and just have like my pen and pad ready for like 5 hours taking down notes and like really busting my brain on this stuff. And then when you were like, no, it's all done through the game or whatever, the way that game is made so that you can just kind of like take notes in the game and it will provide to you in real time like what you think it is. And then most importantly, when you figure out actual connections and it tells you just straight up, this is what this means all the time, then you're able to puzzle your way through it way easier than I thought it would be, which is really, really nice.
For people who don't know, you're talking about when you find a new symbol and you can make like a guess.
Yeah.
And then it'll show up gray, and then when you see that symbol elsewhere, it'll try and piece together what you think the sentence is, which kind of helps you figure out, is this correct? Is this an actual sentence?
And that's all done in the UI, which is very, very good. But most importantly is that there will be times where you can make a connection solidly and the game will say, yes, this is what this means. You are correct. So you're not kind of like thinking, okay, I'm halfway there, but I'm not fully there. You can kind of like you can start piecing it together more and more as you make more progress, which I didn't necessarily know how they were going to handle that. So it was you talking about how the game kind of allows you to do that stuff in the game and it works like in real time showing you that stuff. That made it more accessible for me to be like, okay, I think I'll try this out now. And yeah, the way that game is designed to do that stuff is very, very fluid and intuitive in a way that I didn't think it would be necessarily, which is awesome.
Got 2 points. First one, the stealth is the weakest part of that game. I just wish
it's kind of
wasn't there.
terrible. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I can only assume it was like, we need to put something else in here because we don't want people to call this a walking simulator or something. And I just think it's worse for it because it's just a little frustrating, and it's like so like out of left field. It's like, what is this doing? This whole game is chill. Like, why is this here now?
And they kind of know it too, because even in those sections, when you get to a certain point, it just checkpoints you at that thing. So even the game kind of almost admits fault to being like, yeah, we know it's kind of shitty. Here's a Band-Aid. Like, at least you're going to start from this point on.
I guess it's so that they could put like some like kind of tension in there, some stakes, but it is, yeah, I don't know. Second point, did you finish it?
Yeah, I did both endings.
Oh, okay. Wow. So good job. I found the third area the hardest one.
Yeah, Yoda people. I agree.
The Yoda people? With the language. Okay, sure. Yeah, that was definitely the hardest one. It took me the longest time to get that right.
That one
did you do all of the like connection? Oh, you did both endings, so you did all the connections. Yeah.
That one's brutal because the other ones, when you get into a new area, there's kind of like a mural or something that you're like, okay, I can kind of guess what this is, or like there's a contextual clue. When you get into the Bard area, it's just like a group of people talking to you, and they're like blah 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 to you, and you're like, what the fuck are you saying?
That's pretty much every time you walk into a new area. It's just like, yep, I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, it's cool.
I do like how like I like the story in that game, and kind of like the narrative around like who you are. I wasn't expecting them to even answer that. I just thought I was a dude, but when they reveal near the end kind of what's going on, it's like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah,
this is a special game. The connections, like the terminals between the people, were the only times I really had to like look up some stuff, because I was just like, I mean, okay, I know what you're trying to say, but clearly my brain is not putting it together. What exactly is the translation here? Oh, you wanted me. This is your word for that. Okay, yeah, there we go. And what was annoying about that one is, unlike a lot of the other ones, it was hard to trial and error because you had to like constantly put them in order. You couldn't just swap out the ones you wanted nice and easily.
Yeah, so. You can't really brute force those, because those are kind of almost like the pop quiz of like, do you understand how this language works? Because we're going to test you now on that sort of thing. Yeah. No, that game is very, very cool. I really like the setting and kind of just the setup of what's going on there with the different like tribes of people or whatever, and you kind of joining them back together by learning all of their languages and being able to essentially communicate between them for each other and stuff. It's very, very cool.
Did you have a favorite level?
So this is a little bit cheating. The Exiles were my favorite because there's not a whole lot of people to talk to you, and there are literally just terminals where it'll fill out like 5 or 6 things at one time when you solve it.
That is the easiest one. Yeah. It is. My favorite is the like the scientists, like the steampunky.
The alchemists. Yeah, they're so dope. They're so cool.
They
don't have a word for God, which is interesting.
Hey, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's also, just like to nerd out a little bit more about stuff in the ending or whatever, there's a point at the very, very end where you kind of like, there's a symbol that like moves around and like shows you a bunch of the like different words from each thing or whatever, and then you realize that they're all kind of like the same. The symbol that is shown is for the different language or the different peoples is their word for like a god or their people or whatever. And it was just kind of cool that like this was thought out in a way that like human language has worked, where we all kind of like derived the idea of a god from like something like the sun, and like the words are all very similar even in different languages for the kind of the same thing, even though they're very different. Like the way that this game was thought out, both in a puzzle way and a linguistic way, is like super, super cool, to the point where some of the things you could puzzle out, even where you're just like, okay, well, I know in the alchemist language their terms for like nouns or whatever have the like the triangle shape with something inside, or like this one is like multiple of this, so maybe it's the pluralization of that or whatever. It's very cool.
I didn't pick up on that one.
Like, for example, one of them is the very first language, the symbol for music is like a circle thing or whatever, and the symbol for instrument is that circle thing in like a square. And just shit like that was just like, this
okay.
is awesome. Like the way they thought this out is incredible.
Sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
that
Yeah,
game
it's a
is
cool
so
game,
cool.
for sure.
That's really it.
Over on my side, I've been playing Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure how far I got, but I ended up dropping it. I was having a hard time getting into it. I think it was just like too much distance from the game. So one thing I did really like is when it was coming out, I was like, okay, should I just like start a new file because I barely remember the character I had, and that's what my initial plan was. And then I was like, let me just quickly Google how long it takes to like get access to this DLC. And the quick Google said 20 hours. And I was like, well, there's no way I'm starting over. So I just loaded it into my main file and I was like, but they've changed so much when they did the 2.0 update. Like they give you all of your like perks back and it's like, I have no idea what any of this is.
Right.
What is meaningful, what is not. But what they do allow you to do is you can start a new game with a pre-set up character at the Phantom Liberty beginning. Which is really great. So that's what I did do. And that was perfect. The story was interesting. I would like to know more of the story, but my issue was it's still like pretty buggy. And I lost like about 30-minute chunks of gameplay twice now. And after the second one, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. Like,
yeah,
I don't have time to be replaying stuff right now. I'm going through things fast.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a little contradictory with my next game, but so that's a bummer. I don't know if I'm going to get back to it. I'm not sure if it's an issue just with like, I think it might be with Xbox's quick resume feature, so maybe it's just an Xbox issue. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to finish that game, unfortunately. So for whatever reason, I was like, you know what? I love the game Moonlighter. I'm just going to play Moonlighter.
Okay.
Which came out years ago.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just had instead of playing new games like I should be for Game of the Year, I guess just the Christmas time off, I was like, I want to play Moonlighter, a game that I love. And maybe it's also because Day of the Diver reminds me so much of Moonlighter.
Sure.
But I've been playing Moonlighter because I never played through it on Xbox, so I'm doing that.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
And I never played the DLC, so I have like the complete edition on Xbox, so I'll get to play that, but which is after the main game. I will say though, every achievement point is 12 points. So fuck you to the developers of Moonlighter. Why on earth would you do that? And unfortunately, what it means is every time I get like 5 achievements done, there's a part of me that's like, I should drop this game forever because it's now a 0 again.
That's funny.
So why would you do that? What is wrong with you? Absolute monsters.
It is interesting to me that you're playing an old game. That is so unlike you. It's crazy, but yeah, no.
It is so like I've wanted to go back and play it because it's like one of my favorite games, and I never played through on Xbox, so I've just had it installed forever.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I was just in the mood where I was just like, I just want a game that I like really love right now. And so that's why I'm playing some Moonlighter.
Nice. Awesome.
And that's all I've been playing this week. Let's do one news story because no one's working this week, so there's no news. But I wanted to talk about this interview that the head of Harmonix, they didn't say the name of who it is. I guess maybe that whole article does, but I'm just going to kind of read this tweet. The head of Harmonix did an interview with Game Informer about Fortnite Festival's future. And here's 3 very interesting answers. There's going to be weekly songs being put into it. They're importing as many of the legacy peripherals as possible.
Okay.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
That might mean I don't need to buy another guitar. John and I were just talking about this yesterday, that I might be buying another guitar in January, which is literally insane.
Yeah.
If there's any new functionality to that new guitar, I will probably get it, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I definitely don't need it. And new modes will be coming too. Not sure what that means. But I mean, it probably means they're going to add DJ Hero. That's probably like the most obvious thing, right? No, of course.
Oh
not.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's not even Harmonix. That's Activision. So what I'm saying is, Microsoft, get on it and put DJ Hero into something. We all got our turntables. We're still hanging on to them.
Yeah.
But it is like, so kind of just reading some of the clips of this interview. I'll just read some of them here. So far, we've had great success in putting deals together with our music partners, music industry partners. We're now starting to clear songs at a very high velocity, as you saw in our history with Rock Band and Guitar Hero, etc. We plan on to be rolling out hopefully many hundreds of songs a year, growing a library of thousands over time. So seems like the real deal is happening, and that's exciting for me.
Yeah, no, it's very, very cool. The fact that this is all happening in a Fortnite thing is insane to me, but Fortnite is the new
Wild.
It's the new game engine, so why not?
It's a platform. This is not
Yeah.
going to be the end of it. I'm sure there's going to be more games coming.
Yeah.
So.
Exciting.
All right, let's do some questions. If you would like to send a question in, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box.
True. So we have episode titles. Why don't we end off the year with some episode titles?
Hell yeah.
All right. Starting from where we left off, October 26th. I don't think I need to wear pants if I want to be a little risky. Hold on. I don't think I need to wear pants if I want to be a little risky. October 26th.
I have no idea.
I think this is when I got COVID, so I think I was out of commission for a while here. There's like a big stretch where I'm gone.
Okay. I definitely
know,
always wear pants because I'm not comfortable without even pajama pants or something on. So this isn't me.
I mean, I wear shorts often. I'm wearing pants right now, but I don't think it has anything to do with that.
What about when you want to be risky?
I mean, does this maybe have anything to do with like flying naked? I mean, we talked about that, and that was like
that was a long time ago, but maybe I don't remember.
I don't know. Does this have anything to do with like we could be recording without pants on? I don't know.
I just looked up the context. No, we're way off.
Okay.
As the episode was approaching Halloween, Sean took the opportunity to excuse himself and wear a hot dog suit since it reached his mid-thigh. He said this, and I insinuated that the $10 Patreon supporters would now get a gif of you dancing in that suit. I don't remember that part, but offer still on the table.
No, it's not.
November 2nd. Here's Detective Blaze 420. Detective Blaze 420. What?
That's it? Here's Detective Blaze 420?
Yeah, what the fuck would this be?
I have no idea what this is.
Where would I have been gaming? I think I would have been doing Baldur's Gate still, probably at this time, so I don't know that I even played anything with a detective in it. Did you? Have you played, like, any mystery games?
I don't know what this is, and like, I don't know where that name would have come from or how it would have gotten in there. Someone in the chat says Silent Hill. Is this your FMV Silent Hill thing?
You're right. Yeah, it's something like that, because Silent Hill Ascension has the cameos or whatever, where it just like puts somebody's stupid ass username on a character in a scene.
Yeah, that would be it.
That's
I was gonna ask John, because you weren't here during all that. Were you aware of Silent Hill Ascension?
I was aware of it, but I just saw terrible clips online. It looked awful.
It's so bad. It was so
Paul
bad.
watched like the whole thing.
I did not. It's still going, for one thing, but I only watched 5 weeks of it.
How long is it supposed to be going on for?
Like a year or something? Something dumb. No, I think it's 6 months or something. It's a while. But like in that 5 weeks, very little happened because every day was just like 2 minutes of content. So it's like, all right, well.
Wait, it's a daily show?
It's a daily show. Yeah.
The idea of doing a daily Silent Hill show for an entire year is such an absurd concept.
That's why I had to be part of it in some regard. Then when I got sick, I didn't keep up, and I was just like, I guess I'm done. I don't care.
I think it'd be awesome. I think what you should do is like once a month,
do a
just
recap.
like a catch-up stream. Just like watch the whole thing.
I mean, once a month, it would only still be like half an hour, so why not?
Yeah, so it's totally doable. Like, all right, let's see what happened in January for the Silent Hill boys.
The thing is that it's so brutally bad. It's so bad, and it just makes me sad looking at that thing. Anyways, here's Detective Blaze at 420. Paul started watching, playing, ranting about the interactive story of Silent Hill Ascension, where in each of the streams they would feature results from a chat poll. These included users making avatar cameos in the Silent Hill canon. That's right. The thing I'm mad about is that Silent Hill Ascension is considered canon in that universe for some reason, which led to the host come up with this main character. November 9th. I'm going to quickly check my email. I remember what this is. This was
I think
this was you saying, I wonder if I got this code or something in my email. I can't remember what it was, but it was you checking.
November 9th? That would have been right around me reviewing the PS5 in the Portal. So it was probably me double checking like what I could talk about at that time.
Okay.
Because the review embargoes were like really strict.
Okay. Yeah, it was something like that. Context was Sean received hardware packages from PlayStation, including the Slim, planning to talk about. Didn't know if embargo was up, so he had to double check. In the end, he did and mentioned the slow PS5 to PS5 transfer, asking John about it since out of them, he would be the one to own more than one PS5.
Which I do not.
And I own 2 now, so there you go.
Yeah, he's taking over. He's taking over your role, John. You got to buy more PS5s.
Thank God. Free me from my nightmare, Sean.
Okay, but only if you take Assassin's Creed off my plate. I can't do both of them.
There must always be a curse.
What is this fucking genie? Where's this monkey paw bullshit?
November 16th. Valve doesn't give a shit.
It has to be OLED related, right?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
It's gotta be. It's around the right time.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Sean talked about the annoying process to order an OLED. This featured the website breaking.
Do that?
What's that?
The limited edition one. I'm seeing if you can still do that. I'm gonna be so pissed.
This featured the website breaking with the fun emoji guy looking sad, the product flickering in and out of between in and out of stock, repeatedly being logged out, the bank blocking the order after assuming it was fraudulent. This was his conclusion to the ordeal.
It is currently out of stock, so.
Okay, well,
Good.
That's good. Good. November 23rd. I think you're a brand risk after what you pulled. What the fuck? I think you're a brand risk after what you pulled.
23rd.
I wasn't home, so.
I don't think it's about us. I don't think like one of us were a brand risk, but we were probably talking about someone.
No,
who
Game
did something.
Awards related?
It's obviously like a
No,
joke
Game
for
Awards was on
someone.
the 8th of December. This is the end of November, right?
I wasn't sure this is when the game, like the list dropped, and like maybe that was related to something.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe one of the influencers or something. I don't know.
Okay, I just looked up the context and I still don't understand it, so let me just read it, I guess. A question came up asking if in a hypothetical joke game where Sonic gets blamed for killing Eggman, they would play the part of the culprit.
What?
I don't remember this at all. Was I here?
No, I think this is when Nathan was here, but I don't understand this. Hold on. A question came up asking if in a hypothetical joke game where Sonic gets blamed for killing Eggman, they would play the part of the culprit. Like, we would take the blame for Sonic? Is that what the question was?
I mean, we can just look back at what this question was. This is what, 4 episodes ago?
Yeah, something like that. Paul argued it would be an honor to do so, while Nathan imagined what it would like to be branded as Eggman's killer and getting egged on the streets, to which Paul said he would probably get an email from Sean saying this. What? I don't understand this at all.
I'm so confused.
You can tell it's a Nathan episode because I don't understand what the fuck we said. We're talking about.
Okay, I found the episode. I'm trying to. Okay, I'm gonna read you the question. Okay, maybe this will
Okay.
help. Maybe this will ring some bells for you, Paul.
Okay, yeah.
This was from VGC Kenny.
Okay.
They wrote, "You get invited to Sega for a top secret project. You decide to take them up on the invite and go. Upon arrival, you find out that they're working on their next April Fool's game, the framing of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, okay. This makes more sense now. Yeah.
An
okay.
alternate universe from the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, where Sonic is framed for the murder of Dr. Eggman.
Right.
The player takes control of Barry the Quokka
Yeah.
to solve the case for real.
Yeah.
So why are you there? Well, Sega wants you to be the real culprit. You take the job and be forever branded as the person who killed Eggman and framed Sonic for it, or do you back down? What an
Yeah.
insane question.
Yeah, I remember this question now. It's fucking insane. Like, what were you on? I remember this question.
And what is I can only imagine what Nathan answered. Like,
Nathan was worried about being a brand risk. This was him. He doesn't want to be a brand risk for being the dude who killed Eggman and getting egged in the streets.
Okay. I guess I need to go listen to that episode for some good Nathan content.
I guess so. November 30th. The most excited Paul's ever been on this podcast.
I have no idea what this is.
Me neither. Nothing. There was nothing that I was super excited for that came out, I think, in the beginning of, in December or the end of November. So,
What was the line again?
the most excited I've ever been on this podcast, me.
Oh, yeah. No
But
idea.
I have no idea. Okay,
Well, I think it was
context.
Fortnite. I feel like it was Fortnite related for some weird reason. I think I'm imagining that.
Well, I see the word nude here. Hold on. A question came asking what month the host would appear in while designing a hypothetical 2024 TDP calendar.
Oh, the calendar.
After quickly brushing the nude option and avoiding Sean's secret birth month, they proposed being all in all of them dressed for the occasion. Particularly, apparently, I would recreate the N64 kid getting excited despite not owning one back in the day. Man, that must have been a slow podcast for comedy. Cause all right, fair. December 14th. I can't believe this thing actually came out.
Oh, I was not on this.
That was
episode.
that
This is
game.
not-
That was that game. Everyone like it got so refunded that it
The
shut
day
down the
before.
studio.
You're right. That's what it was. Yep. That was you and me, I think, that did that episode.
That was us. Yeah.
Context. The hosts were discussing recent news regarding the infamous The Day Before and how it went from being one of the most hyped games to disbanding the studio developer. Paul said this in disbelief and proceeded to call it a piece of shit as John chuckled in response. Yeah, you were right. Final one from last week. You have to stand up and shout McDonald's. This is Sean talking about the McDonald's ad thing, standing in front of your Kinect or whatever.
This was a PlayStation patent from a long time ago, where PlayStation was like, "Hey, what if
McDonald's.
you set up
Yeah.
a camera and we would show you ads, and then if you wanted the ad to end, you had to stand up and shout McDonald's." But I forget what I was saying it in response to.
It was for the free Game Pass that some places, the free Game Pass alternative or
That
whatever.
was kind of rumored or was talked about from one of the Xbox execs. Okay, yes.
The context was the hosts were discussing recent plans regarding the free tier of Game Pass that would give you 2 hours of play streaming after watching 30 seconds of an ad. And yeah, it's exactly what we just talked about. Okay,
Alright.
Thank you for writing in, as always.
Thank you. Suku writes, "Are there any video games you loved as a teen but find cringy to play in the present day?"
Yeah, probably. I'm trying to think of what games.
Like, okay, probably any Sonic game.
Okay, fair, I guess.
There was a time when I was a kid where I was playing Mario Party,
Uh-huh.
like
Oh my
unironically.
God. Oh my God. How did you live?
Yeah.
Well, I was a dumb idiot kid, and then I became an adult, a man.
Yeah.
Some sense.
Right. I don't know that there is.
I mean,
No?
I rented so many terrible video games as a kid that like I could just point to like a bunch of those, like Flintstones, the movie, the game for Super Nintendo, the Page Master game for Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like a
But
bunch
did
of
you
like
love
really
any of
bad games.
them back then?
I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun and kept like renting them and playing them. I just couldn't make much progress on them back then. And then played through them as an adult. I'm like, oh yeah, no, these do suck. Shit.
Sure. No, I don't really find cringy stuff that cringy when it comes to playing games or stuff or any of that stuff. Maybe like some of the dialogue in some of those old games a little bit, but it was a different time. It was a different time. Lineback writes, which of you is the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, and who would you all agree to haunt?
Well, we gotta haunt Nathan. I think that's the only thing fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Or is Nathan the ghost of Christmas past?
Yeah, that also makes sense.
I'm also trying to think, like, because who was each one of them? So, like, Ghost of Christmas Past was an old coworker, right? Bob Cratchit. That could work.
No, because he was just an extra ghost. I
So
think.
who was the Ghost of Christmas Past then? Or was Bob Cratchit his current coworker?
I think
It was his old partner, wasn't it?
Marley was the old partner, but he's the one that warned him that the ghosts were coming. So
because a ghost shows up to warn them, and then the 3 ghosts happen. So he sees 4 ghosts.
Well, Ghost of the Future is the Grim Reaper. I don't remember at all who the
Present's like a super jolly Santa Claus looking dude.
Oh, okay. But the first isn't it an old partner of his?
I'm gonna look
They have like a history together, I think.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds familiar.
Well, I want to be the present then, because I would be the jolly Santa.
Okay.
I was gonna say I'd be the Ghost of Christmas Past because I'm all about like playing retro games in my backloggery and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Would I be Tiny Tim, who definitely did not die?
Definitely did not die.
All I keep seeing is like there are ghosts that was like neither young nor old. Appearing to be both young and old, the spirit carries a large cap in the shape of a candle extinguisher under its arm. From the top of its head shines a bright light that illuminates Scrooge's memories.
This is the ghost of the past?
Yeah. Present is like Bacchus, basically, like a super jolly looking drunk dude.
So wait, who's being haunted here? I guess.
This is Nathan. I can't think of a specific. I don't know who else we would pick, right? I'll be Kodak. Maybe we could change it.
There we go. I'll be past because he and I kind of grew up in the same. Like we have a lot of so we both grew up in Airdrie, so we have a lot of similar memories of places and stuff.
Who's we?
Nathan and I.
Oh, okay, Nathan.
We're haunting Nathan, so
yeah.
Got it.
Does that make me present then? Or does that make me future? You're like, I'd be future.
Which one do you want?
I mean, future's easier because you don't even have to say anything. You just have to like wear a giant.
You just have to.
A lot of hand acting.
Yeah.
You had a cool cloak though.
Yeah. Sean, I think you've got the energy to be like a present guy. Of just be like living it up.
Yeah. Done. There we go. John, you want to read this next one?
Rasterman writes in and says, what is the maximum number of video games you remember having played in a single day?
Just played?
Yeah.
I don't know, like 20? I've bounced between a bunch of games before. That's not unusual.
I mean, for streams, I feel like I've gone through, like, at minimum, like, 5. Probably more, like... I've had, like, some streams where I've done, like, 8 or 9. Maybe even more.
Probably more. I'm sure there's been a day where you've just like started a game, you're like, this sucks after 10 minutes and played another one, especially as a kid.
You know what mine actually probably is the streams, the Japanese Sega Saturn streams with John, where we did just play like 10 or 15 minutes and we're like, all right, moving on to the next game that we cannot understand.
Did a lot of games on that one.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many games you bought? Because that's probably your answer then.
I don't think I ever knew the number of games I bought because I bought so many.
Okay.
Why wouldn't I? They were 10 cents.
For sure, yeah. I guess this changes to like games that you've played like a significant portion of in a single day, like maybe 3.
Yeah, I can't imagine mine's more than like 3. 3 is probably even rare. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
BGC Kenny writes, you're at a fancy restaurant and you leave to go to the bathroom. On your way back, you hear voices coming from behind a curtain. Curiosity gets the better of you and you take a peek. It turns out that this is the site for a closed door meeting between Nintendo and Rare to remake DK64 and release it on the follow-up to the Switch. The representatives are panicked that this will leak now, so to stop you from leaking it, they kill you. No, they didn't. So to stop you from leaking it, you are offered 10 grand, as well as the ability to make one change that changes the game on a fundamental level. Why would they let me do that? Okay. As well as add something completely innocuous and fun. For example, big head mode. Do you take this deal? And what do you change? So
It's
if we don't take the deal,
it's a free
yeah,
10 grand.
like, I'm trying to think. It's a would you rather of like that a cool scenario here, or I get to leak that they're making a remake of this.
Yeah.
It gives me literally nothing. Yeah, I would take it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing I would change is don't make Donkey Kong 64. That game's fucking garbage. Make something better.
Wow. I would have said get rid of the swap barrels. Just make it so you can swap it whenever you want.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
I would pitch them on make it just a Lanky Kong game.
There you go.
Nice.
He is easily the best one. He's got a funny face. Like, got tons of stuff.
He has no style or grace.
No style or grace, yeah.
Dad writes, this month marks 5 years of free games on Epic. I don't get economics, but that's not what this question's about. Let's do some head-to-head warfare. Looking at the last 5 years of free Epic games, Xbox games with gold, PS Plus Essential, and Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Console with Expansion Pass, pick the best calendar year of each, then rank the 4 selected years 1 to 4.
Oh, okay. I can tell you now, Games with Gold is going to be bad.
Okay, for people listening, there's a bunch of links that we're gonna have to open to get some lists. So
there are so many games. I don't know if this is doable.
This is a lot.
I just looked at the first one.
I'm just looking at epics, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Games with Gold, but just for the last 5 years, right? So
yeah.
That would be 29.
So 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23.
Okay,
I'm
right.
going to see if there's anything good in this one.
I mean, okay.
Gears of War 4? Okay.
So straight up...
Wait, it says 5 and then 4 for some reason.
I'm going to rank just straight up the Virtual Console one probably the lowest. Not because I think those games are bad, but because I've played all of them before and can, like, emulate most of them and have a bunch of the actual cartridges for them. So, like... They kind of didn't provide me anything really new, honestly, that I care about.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
So that's probably the lowest.
None of these games are going to be brand new. Like, none of these are, like, day and date, like, Game Pass. So they are all old games.
Yes, right. But, like, I actually have those NES and SNES games and stuff is what I mean. Like, they didn't give me anything. Like, some of these games, even though they're not new, I probably didn't have or have access to until... I got them for free on something. There are a lot of games on this Xbox one that I was not really expecting.
Games with Gold was pretty big for a while.
I know in the last couple years, though, it's going to get really bad.
Yeah.
When they started really pushing Game Pass. Then it made no sense to put free games in Gold.
For me personally... the top one is PS Plus, probably. Second, Epic. Third, Games with Gold. Fourth, Nintendo Switch. And the reason why is because all the stuff that's on Epic, I probably had bought already before it was offered on Steam. So I also had most of those games, but there was still a good handful I got. PS Plus, I got a bunch of stuff because I don't buy console games very often for free from that. And then Xbox, I just don't use very much. So that is... de facto one of the lower ones for me.
Why is the Nintendo one? Oh, it's because they're breaking up by system. I was like, why is this so short?
Yeah. I think
it's even
I
harder
almost
to.
think the PlayStation one's cheating because it includes when they did like that PlayStation 4 like Essentials collection because a lot of stuff in here looks like it's the
Yeah,
essential stuff.
that's why it's so
But
high.
Which doesn't
I
exist
agree with
anymore.
that. I would definitely say PlayStation was the strongest.
Right, but I don't think we could take that because it's not available anymore. You can't do that.
Ooh, I thought we were just
That was
ranking the
just a.
years.
Oh, I guess ranking the years, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, yes. Yeah, that was incredible. It was basically all of like of the PS4's best games.
Yep. But I mean, it doesn't matter because if Game Pass was part of this, it's by far the best thing out of all of them. So, like,
For sure, yeah. But yeah. I mean, another thing to keep in mind is out of all of these, the Epic one is literally free. These are
Yeah.
all subscription services that
Yep.
we're getting you a game each month.
No, you're
So
right.
that's pretty great as well. Like I've given no money to Epic. That's not true, but I'm not giving any money for their free game.
You're right. Yep. And they've had a decent selection too, especially if you're not regularly buying games on PC as it is. You're getting a lot of stuff from them.
Cat Quest is
PS
the current
Plus
free game.
was getting some day and date games, like Fall Guys came out first as a PS Plus game. That was a big deal for me.
Sure.
I don't know if Gold ever got anything like that. Can't think of anything because they would have just done it in Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
The Game Pass was doing day and date, yeah.
Yeah. So. And then yeah, for me, like Nintendo's is the weakest, just because it's the least interesting to me. Like the part that's interesting to me is the like free DLC you get for some games I might be interested in.
Sure.
But even then, I haven't taken advantage of that like ever.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not ranking the years. It's impossible.
Yeah. No.
Then Paul, do you want to read this last question?
No, because I just read the last one.
Yep, it's mine. Phantom Aegis writes in and says, Ahoy, TDP crew. What is your favorite dressing for a salad? Examples, Caesar, Italian, Thousand Island, apple cider, vinaigrette, etc. Caesar. I'm simple.
Vinaigrette.
Yep. Vinaigrette's the healthier choice, but I do like a Caesar salad quite a bit. You know what's crazy? When they offer you ranch as a dressing. Are you insane? That's insane.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't seen ranch as a dressing in a long time. I guess, yeah.
Definitely seen it. I want to say there was something recently, and I was just like, oh yeah, this place does that. Gross. That's way too much ranch.
Is that like a Chili's thing? That seems like a Chili's thing or something.
I mean, that's not where I encountered it. I don't remember where I encountered it, but that does seem like a Chili's thing.
Thousand Island's okay, too.
I like Thousand Island on a burger.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Thousand
I'm a
Island
big fan of
is
that.
okay.
I think McDonald's like special sauce is just Thousand Island mixed with ketchup.
Essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you like McDonald's burgers, give Thousand Island a try.
True.
All right, that's going to do it for questions. If you want to send in a question for next week, it's topdownrespected@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What's your game of the week? Mine's Moonlighter.
I guess it's Startropics.
Chants of Sennaar.
Nice. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember, fill out the community survey, and January 10th is the day before the Game of the Year episode.
True.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not wrong.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.